Okay, today we're going to look at mind theory. Remember, mind theory is a theory of what makes a person persist through time, what makes a person be the person who she is. Now, I should say, before we look at particular versions, the general view of mind theory is this. Two people, A and B, are the same person, the same individual, if and only if they are mentally similar in the right kind of way. So then the question becomes, what is the right kind of mental similarity? Well, here's one possibility. Two people are the same person if there's a continuous stream of consciousness that goes from one to the other. Another possibility is that two people are the same person if the second person has the memories of doing what the first did. Another possibility is that two people are the same person if they have the same mental features like beliefs and desires and hopes and fears. Another possibility is that two people are the same person if they have the same personality. We'll look at each of these views. So let's start with the view that you are a conscious stream of experiences. When you wake up in the morning, you start having some experiences. Things look a certain way to you. They sound a certain way. They feel, your sheets might feel a certain way, a little scratchier, nice and soft. You have a whole interesting set of experiences. You have various thoughts, maybe some anxiety about what the day will bring, maybe some excitement or anticipation for things you're looking forward to. Those are all conscious experiences. These conscious experiences continue throughout your waking day. On this view, persons A and B are the same person if there's a continuous stream of conscious experience running through A and B. So let's consider, is this plausible? Well, here's a question. What makes two conscious episodes, parts of the same stream? So here we have Socrates, and he's having a conscious experience. That's what CE stands for. And then he closes his eyes and goes to sleep. And he wakes up and he has another conscious experience. And now we can ask, what makes these two conscious experiences part of the same stream? Well, maybe we should back up and ask, why should we think they are part of the same stream? Well, presumably going to sleep isn't death. When Socrates goes to sleep, that doesn't kill him. That is, it's not like a new person wakes up in his body because it's a new conscious stream. So if the view that you are a conscious stream is plausible, then we had better be able to say that these two conscious streams, the one he has before he goes to sleep and the one he has after he wakes up, these two conscious experiences, the one he has before he goes to sleep and the one he has after he wakes up, are part of the same stream. And that raises the question, what makes two episodes parts of the same stream? Notice this, you can't say that these two conscious experiences are part of the same stream because they're both had by Socrates. Why not? Because that would be circular. We're trying to explain what it is that makes Socrates persist through time, that makes Socrates at time one the same person as Socrates at time two. We can't very well say they're the same person because they have the same conscious experiences or their conscious experiences are parts of the same stream. And then when someone says, well, what makes them parts of the same stream? We say, well, they're had by the same person. That would be viciously circular. Now, here's a possible solution. We can say that two conscious episodes are part of the same stream if the second conscious episode includes a memory of the first conscious episode. Now, what I want to do now is point out that this will have a very weird consequence. So let me first reiterate the view. The view is that a conscious experience that you have after you wake up is part of the same stream as one you have before you go to bed, because the conscious experience you're having when you wake up can include a memory of the conscious experience you had before you went to bed. So memory is what binds distinct conscious experiences into a single stream. Now, here's a weird consequence. Suppose someone accuses Socrates of corrupting the youth, as they in fact did, and ask him how he pleads. And he says, he thinks to himself, well, I remember talking to the youth, so I better tell them. So he says, sure, I talked to the youth, but it was instruction, not corruption. I was helping them. Now, someone bashes him in the head with a baseball bat and knocks out his memory. So he thinks to himself, wait a second, what am I saying? I don't remember talking to the youth. So he says, actually, I didn't talk to the youth at all. I am my conscious stream. I am a conscious stream. And that conscious stream consists of episodes that are bound together by memory. Well, since somebody just hit me in the head, I can no longer remember talking to the youth. So it couldn't have been me who did it because the conscious experience of talking to the youth isn't bound by memory to the conscious experience I'm having now. And therefore, those two conscious experiences are parts of distinct streams. And therefore, the individual having this conscious experience isn't the same as the individual who had that one. Well, here's the point. This seems implausible. It seems like the mere fact that Socrates can no longer remember having talked to the youth doesn't mean that Socrates didn't talk to the youth. If it was really that easy to change who you are, then anytime you incur a debt, you could simply make sure you don't remember incurring it, and then it wouldn't be your debt, even if it was a debt had by someone who had previously occupied your body. So here's the basic problem. You can be unable to remember your own past, and it can still be your past. Okay, what about the view that beliefs and desires are what make an individual persist? That is, so long as enough of my beliefs and desires persist, I persist. The problem is that your beliefs and desires, quite obviously, can change, and can change quite a bit. Maybe when you started school in the fall, for at least some of you, you wanted to, say, major in engineering, and you've decided that you don't like engineering and you want to major in vocal performance. That's a pretty big change to your desires. The desire to be an engineer versus the desire to be a vocal performer or a high school music teacher or something. Maybe at the beginning of the semester, you believed various things that you no longer believe because you've reflected and you've decided, well, given what I've learned, I should change my mind. And some of those beliefs might be big, like maybe you were an atheist and now you're a Christian, or maybe you were a Christian and now you're an atheist. There's all sorts of big changes in belief that we all go through. It seems like you change your beliefs. It's not like as the beliefs inhabiting this body change, a new person is replacing the old person because I am my beliefs. And this looks like a pretty serious problem for the view that beliefs and desires, or persisting beliefs or desires, are what makes a person persist. What about personality? Maybe you are your personality. So two people A and B are the same person if they have the same personality. But here we have the same problem. Your personality can change, right? Maybe you're super anxious and you get some really good cognitive behavioral therapy and you come out the other side not being nearly as anxious. Well, that's a pretty big change in personality, but it's not death. It's not like you've killed yourself and a new person inhabits your body, because you are your personality and anxiety is part of your personality and therefore it's part of what it is to be you. So get rid of it and you're not you anymore. Well, that just doesn't seem right. It seems like people can eliminate their anxiety and still go on, still be the same person. That is the same individual. Different mental features. One has anxiety, one doesn't, but same person. There's a famous case illustrating this. This is the case of Phineas Gage. Many of you may have heard of this case. Historians these days think it's a bit apocryphal, but here's the apocryphal version of the story. Phineas Gage is a nice, upstanding member of society, as reliable can be, and then gets a railroad spike through his head and amazingly survives. The spike is removed. And he becomes a complete jerk. His personality goes through a drastic change. He no longer pays his debts. He no longer shows up for work. He's, bombastic and violent and so on and so forth. Sort of a total change in personality. But it looks like he's still in some sense the same person. Now you might want to say in this radical case he's not the same person. But in more minor cases where we sort of change various aspects of our personality, including, say, getting rid of anxiety, we often do want to say it's the same person. Now, just as an aside, I said this Phineas Gage story is a bit apocryphal because these days it looks like the reporting of drastic personality change that happened at the time was a bit sensational. It's kind of like the thing you'd see in the National Enquirer. There may have been some personality changes, but not the kind of night and day personality change that we're often told. Okay, here's the broad issue. An advocate of the mind theory will struggle to identify the aspect of mind that is necessary and sufficient for survival. And any proposal the advocate of the mind theory makes, anytime the advocate of the mind theory says, look, two people A and B are the same person if and only if they have this aspect of mind in common, we'll be able to find a case where someone has that aspect of mind in common and yet we want to say they're not the same person, and we'll be able to find a case like we've been running through where they don't have that aspect of mind in common, and we'll want to say they are the same person. Now, later on, not in the next segment, but on down the line, we're going to look at a much more sophisticated version of mind theory that aims to handle this kind of that aims to handle this kind of concern, and that's Derek Parfit's view. But we're going to leave mind theory here for now and look at body theory next time.